first, Chief, I just want to ask you, when you hear Gwen talk about this long history of tension between the African Americans in our country and the police, is that how folks who wear the badge feel about it?
There certainly have been. I agree with her 100%, especially the point that she made about people are mad at the police, but that's not where this starts. It starts with the government officials. Now, I will tell you that there comes a time when police have to say, this is mayor, county executive, governor, this isn't the way we should be doing business as law enforcement. And I was fortunate to have that, be able to have that conversation when I was the chief, when Charlotte put speed cameras out on Interstate 170. And I said, listen, this isn't about safety, this is about raising revenue for the city. And law enforcement should not be in the business of raising revenue. That's not what we're here for. But was told by my elected officials I should get off of that, just leave it alone. So I think, you know, when you look at where the protests have been, it's been mostly against law enforcement. Think about who's asking law enforcement to do those things. That's where the protest should be.
Of course, it's not all about speed cameras, or sometimes it's just about the personal interactions, a certain feeling. You tell me, what do protesters say when they talk about the relationship with police?
No, I agree. I think, of course, the reason that the people in Canfield that started all of this stood up wasn't solely because of police brutality. It also is because that community doesn't seem the same, don't have the same economic income that other communities have. They're not getting the same education system that other communities have. The only thing about it is when people are already going through a tough time and already struggling and already just trying to get by, to add on to that, the police coming into their communities and always harassing them and always picking on them and being aggressive to them for no reason doesn't make it any better. So it is true that people should be upset, you know, at their elected officials, but when you're upset with your elected officials, the way to hold them accountable is you vote them out. How do you hold police accountable? And it seems that if they always are getting away with something, so the individuals in the community are upset with law enforcement because they're never held accountable for anything. It's always they're free, or when they do something wrong, it's not the citizens' fault, or it's not the police fault, it's the citizens' fault. It needs to be fair across the board, just not holding elected officials accountable, but also holding our police departments accountable.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think there's some, I agree with them to some extent. Police have a tough job, and when you have to make a split-second decision whether or not to pull a trigger, for example, it takes the Supreme Court months, years sometimes to review that and decide whether or not they were right or wrong. You usually don't have that time when you're on the street and you're enforcing the law and something critical happens right in front of you. So that's why many times the police are given some flexibility and some leeway by the community. I don't think any officer comes to work and thinks, today I'm going to go out and break the law and abuse somebody and abuse their rights, and I'll get away with it. There are some that are like that. I ran our internal affairs unit for years, and I guarantee you there are people like that. But I think we're pretty good in law enforcement at finding those people and weeding them out of the law enforcement service. I think we're fairly effective at that. We could always do better.